You've been insulted, you've been degraded, you've been disregarded, you've been ridiculed, you've been reduced, you've been attacked, you've been slapped, you've been relegated to the background and deprived of what is yours. You've been mocked, you've been scorned, you've been denied affection, concern, and love.
You've not been deprived of life.
So what next?
So
what next?
I am Coach-Henschel, and I want to motivate you. Listen.
The world we live in today have been classified. The upper class, the middle class, the working class, and the lower class. The powerful, the influential, the wealthy occupies the upper class, and most times they abuse the rights of those in the lower class because they are poor. Listen, friends. If you lack sufficient money to meet basic needs, including food, clothing, shelter, and medicals, you are poor.
What class do you fall in? If you are in the fourth class, the lower class, I want to change your mindsets today. You are not poor. Say it to yourself. Your situation starts changing when you start believing the positive. So say it, I am not poor. I am not poor. I'll make it in life.
Do you believe that? It's not all about saying it, friends.
It's not just believing it. It's not even about praying for a change. It is walking and walking towards your belief. Yes, towards what you want your life to turn out to be.
During one of my postgraduate school days, a professor from the United States told us that when he arrived our country, he saw massive buildings and structures, and he wanted to know what these buildings were for. He got to find out that they were buildings where people go in and spend the whole day praying for success. These are churches. He continued, in my own country, we also have massive buildings and structures, but these buildings are factories and companies where people go in and work out their success. So friends, work out your own success so that these first-class citizens, these rich and famous people will not insult and deprive you of what is yours.
I want you to know that you decide in which class you want to be. If you're comfortable with the insults and the ill treatments, then continue in what you've been doing. But if the oppression and the ill treatments and the insults betters you a lot, go out of the box, seek and work out a change so you can join the first class.
So look inwards, think out a remedy. Know what you're capable of doing and develop it. Remember, do not depend on anybody for help because only your relatives you are willing to help. So start from somewhere. Yes, you can start small and grow big. Then be focused, be diligent, be determined, be strong and be resilient. Do not engage in what you want to do or what you see other people doing. It might not work out for you. Do what you know how to do best, what you find pleasure in doing, and start making money from what you might consider fun. The start might be tedious, but if you don't quit, you'll win. The profit might be less. If you don't quit, you save them up and continue. Grow your business gradually and you'll definitely get to where you want to be. Hate working for people, but no matter the amount of additional effort you expend in the work front, you'll get no additional paycheck. Remember, people will laugh at your poor stuff. They will discourage you. But do not listen or pay attention to their macro.
Look at the story of the poor son of a mad woman. He was young and lived with his mother in an old uncompleted building in an area designated for waste disposal. From his tender years, he was fed with rotten food gotten from the garbage dump, and so he looked famished, malnourished, and sickly. He started mimicking his mad mother's silly gestures and in turn was classified to be mad.
Every morning, the poor boy would always watch as other children were driven to school by their parents, while he would always sit on dirt, wearing torn and dirty clothes and fixed his gaze on them. He had no childhood memories. One day, a rich woman pulled over just in front of the trash area where the mad woman lived for her son to ease himself. The mad woman became angry and rained her visits on the rich woman as she stood in front of the woman's car. The rich woman became angry and wickedly ran over the mad woman with her car. And she died. She died. The poor son of the mad woman was left alone in the dumping ground. And the passage of time dried off his painful tears. He started thinking of how to start taking care of himself. And so he came up with an idea. He would always pick used plastic bottles, cans, old kitchen utensils, mattresses, fill them in a bag and sell them. He was paid very little for the large pigs he made. It was enough to take care of his feeding every day. So one day he decided to know what the buyers of the used plastic bottles use them for. In his curiosity, he offered to help them load a truck and to follow them to where they will offload them and also assist in offloading. So they were also paying him for loading and offloading, and his income added some figures. In the process, he found out that they would always supply these waste materials to a company who in turn recycle them and use them to produce clothes, utensils, and so on. So one day he went to the company alone in his usual dirty attire and requested to see the owner of the company. The man in the security post laughed at him and spoke rudely to him because he was poor. One of them even slapped him and instructed him to leave the company's premises. As he turned to go, the MD of the company drove in. He drove past him, but something struck him. He stopped and called the poor dejected boy. The boy told him,
I am the one who picks all the plastics and cans and bottles supplied to you. Please, can you permit me to supply this directly to your company so you can pay me? Do not pay me up to what you pay your usual supplier. Give me very little.
The MD, a good rich man, signed a business deal with the poor boy, and he gave him a truck to use and even increased his money offer. And the person of the mad woman called some boys together and they started to pick up used plastics and cans, and he would always pay them. And in a span of 15 years, he made enough money and he started his own recycling company, and he bought over the entire trash area and erected his own company, and he employed many people who now work for him. One day, a man came to be employed in the company and he said,
Many years ago, we were extremely rich. My mother was arrogant, and with her car, she ran over a mad woman here. It was a waste disposal area, and today, it is a beautiful company.
So if you are poor, do not relax. Do not just sit in and say, I have a poor background, there is nothing I can do about that. No, friends. Don't think that you cannot make it in life because of your background, because of where you are coming from. So many people who made it to the upper class today started from where you are right now. They had similar or even lower backgrounds than you have. So hustle out something like the son of the late mad woman. Be curious for a change and detest working for people. Explore every opportunity at your disposal. Even if you fail, do not give up. Spent making mistakes is not only more honorable but more useful than a life spent in doing nothing. Sometimes we fall into a rough patch or a crisis or feel that we are too far from achieving our dreams and we just want to pack up and go home. But that's when you need to stay strong, friends. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. And you dear rich ones, learn from this story. If you are rich today, do not become arrogant. Do not oppress the poor, for you don't know what tomorrow might bring. Help the poor. Erase their sadness and sorrows. Put a smile on their faces. Help them climb the ladder of success. If you cannot help them, then leave them alone, please. Do not add to their difficulties. Do not add to their tears. If your wealth can't impact positively on the poor, then it is worthless. The arrogant woman who ran over the mad woman suddenly became poor, and they had to depend on the son of the mad woman for salary in order to survive. So why should you oppress the poor when you don't know what tomorrow holds? So today, make peace with the poor you have oppressed. Visit the beggarly, the orphans, the less privileged, the impoverished, motherless babies' homes, and show them you care. So never laugh at someone's situation today, because you never know if someday you will find yourself in the very same position. So my friends, have you seen you can actually move from the lowest class to first class? So start running. Your background should not stop you. Start from somewhere. Create your own system. Be unique. Be focused. Do not overlap. Slow and steady wins the race. Maintain your pace. Don't go back to the cage. Continue until you get to your desired place. Yes, run from the lower class and get to the upper class so you can get a pass to board your first class plane. So keep running. Don't look back at your background. You'll trip and fall. Look forward. Get over the obstacles and obstructions on your way. Don't mind the insults from the
the wealthy. Don't mind the deprivations, intimidations, dominations, invasions, aberrations, starvations. Instead, have a motivation that will inspire determination and lead to your transformation and elevation. So run the race with no let up so you can migrate from the lowest class to first class. And you don't have to quit until you win.